So there I was, absolutely crushing it, because that's all I know how to do. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Let me explain. The newest update with my short-term rental, long-term rental, midterm rental debacle. It's crazy, it's insane, and I'm here to tell you guys all about it. For most of you who've been following my journey, you know that I've been house hacking this duplex right here for the last 5+ years. But about 8 months ago, I decided to convert it into a short-term rental and try my hand at Airbnb. Well, over the last 4 or 5 months, I've been somewhat successful on Airbnb. It hasn't been bad, but I've been ramping up, each month being better than the month previous until the month of January. Unfortunately, January was a very slow month. Now, I still brought in $2,400 in income for the month of January. For those of you who have followed me for a while, you know that the last long-term tenant I had in there was paying $2,150. Now, as a short-term rental tenant owner, I still have to pay the electrical, the gas, the water, and all of those other internet costs like that I wasn't paying with a previous long-term tenant. So I actually made less money in January than I would have if it had been a long-term rental. But I knew there was going to be a couple of down months, and hopefully it would be offset by some great months in the future. That was the plan, at least. And I did have a $3,400 month in December and a $3,100 month in November. And I was anticipating that my summer months hit $4,000, maybe even $4,500. So moral of the story is that Airbnb's been going okay. What I've been telling everybody was that I needed to see $3,500 a month in income for it to be worth it, because of all the extra time that I'm spending cleaning the property. That's work that I don't want to do. It's Millennial Mike, not Millennial Made. So what I've been doing is saying I need to get to $3,500 a month for this to be considered worthwhile, at least the average month. I don't care if some months are a little below and some are a little bit above. And unfortunately, I'm here to tell you guys that I'm going to just go ahead and throw that goal away. Let me explain why. So I had somebody reach out to me from a corporate housing provider. I had somebody reach out to me on behalf of an insurance company. I had somebody reach out to me on behalf of a midterm rental. Now, for those of you who followed me, you know that I have my property listed on VRBO, Airbnb, and also Furnished Finder. Now, in the 4+ months that I've been listed on Furnished Finder, I haven't had one single person reach out to me with any interest over my property at all. I've been sitting here wondering, man, this midterm rental thing must be a little more complex than I thought it was, because I hear people talking about travel nurses like it's just easy to find these people, and I live within 20 miles of like 4 different hospitals. So I thought, well, maybe I'll get reached out to by a travel nurse at some point. And I thought also that the rent that they would bring in would be a little bit less than I could make as a short-term rental, because it's the kind of stopgap in between long-term rentals and short-term rentals, is that midterm area. However, I'm here to tell you guys that I negotiated a killer deal for myself for this property, and I'm going to be making money hand over fist. It's ridiculous how much money I'm going to get paid. So let me tell you how the encounter went. I get an email from Lydia. She's saying, hey, Mike, I'm looking to house a tenant in your city because they've been displaced due to a fire in their house. It's a mother, her daughter, and a cat. Would you be interested? Now, I never say no. I'm always going to see at least what the offer is. So I respond back and I say, yeah, of course I'm interested. Could you tell me a little bit more? When are they looking to move in? And that's how the conversation starts. So she asks me, what would I charge? What would you charge in order to house our tenants? And she asks me if I would please give her a phone call. So I call her up, and I haven't really had the time to think about what I would charge. And this is my own fault for calling her right away. I probably should have done a little more research, but I wanted to chat with her as she said, hey, would you give me a call? So I give her a phone call, and she puts me on the spot. She's like, well, what would you be willing to charge? What would your cost per month be? And I'm sitting there doing the quick math in my head. Okay, well, I don't want to ask for too much, but I also don't want to ask for too little. And I know that I'm going to easily consistently make $3,000. So I'm like, all right, let's just say $3,000 a month. Remember, last person in there paid $2,150. I'll just say $3,000 a month. And I got the response that everybody who's good at negotiating knows is the worst response you can possibly get. And that is when someone says, oh, perfect, that works for me. That means they had more money to give me, and I should have asked for more. That's not what I want to hear. What I want to hear is, oh, $3,000? Is there any way you come down a little bit? And then we negotiate from there. That's what you want to hear when you're negotiating with somebody. That's not what she said. So she says to me, oh, 3,000, that works for us. Okay, well, how about I send you a follow-up email with some additional questions? You can respond to that. So I go ahead and do that. Now, here's what I did to save myself. She sends me the email. First thing I do is I go to the Airbnb smart data center, the AirDNA stuff. I'm like, okay, AirDNA projects that I'll make, and their projections are like, oh, your property could make $10,000 a month. Bunch of bull crap. That's just what they say to get people to start hosting on their platform. But whatever, I don't care. Airbnb projects that I could make $10,000 a month for their property. And then I go to my actual previous month of December, the month prior to when she had messaged me, the full month. And I'm like, look, 3,500, and this is in a winter month. I have a lake property that I anticipate is going to make 4,000, 4,500, maybe even $5,000 a month during the higher months. And I said, here's what we could do. I could give you $3,000 a month in rent until we hit the spring, in which case it would need to go up to something like $4,000 a month. Or we could split the difference and just do $3,700 a month. Now she comes back to me in another email. She says, $3,700 a month still works. We can make that deal work. I'm fine with it. And I'm like, fantastic. I just made myself an extra $700 a month, which is an extra $8,400 a year. Check the quick math on that one. 700 times 12. I think it's 8,400. Anyway, an extra $8,400 a year. And I'm like, wow, that was really good. I'm glad I asked for more money. Now, she's messaging me back and forth. Well, when could they move in? And this is another thing I had to do. I already have some bookings scheduled over the next few months. But the first thing I did, as soon as I got interest from her, I didn't freeze the listings because I can't figure out how to freeze the listing without delisting it. I don't want to delist it because I don't want to lose my superhost status. I don't even know if that's a thing. So what I did was jack the prices up and turn off automatic booking so that anybody who books has to ask for permission. And I'm denying people left and right. It's like my inbox DMs full of ladies. It's just no, 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 maybe, no, no, no. Just kidding. Anyways, a bunch of rejections flying out left and right. And hopefully it doesn't hurt my rating too much because they don't like it when you reject people, but it is what it is. It was a gamble because I didn't know if she was actually going to go through with it. I've been going back and forth with this lady for like 2.5 weeks with a maybe we'll place the client. Does the client actually want this property? Well, they really wanted a single family house, but the only options available in your city are apartment buildings. And I told her straight up, well, just so you know, this is a duplex. Well, maybe they'll accept a duplex because that's only one neighbor instead of multiple neighbors. And I said, well, would they like to come out and see the property? So mom with her daughter, they come out to the property. I'm super Mr. Friendly, very nice. Oh, it's a great neighborhood. I'm a cop. Look, my car's here, super safe. You'll never be robbed. It's a great environment for your kid. It's close to her school. Oh, your kid's significant other lives a couple blocks away. Well, that's great. Oh, that's really nice. So just laying it on thick, making sure that she knows this is going to be the greatest place she's ever lived in her entire life. Why would she even ever want to go home? I wouldn't want to go home. It's if your house was fire damaged. You don't want to live there anymore. You want to live with me at $3,700 a month forever. That's what you want to do. Anyways, we walk around. She likes the place. She tells me, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and do this. My daughter likes it, and her significant other to come with, they liked it. And I'm hoping that they're not just blowing smoke. So then, I message back the insurance rep and I'm like, hey, they said they liked it. Are we going to move forward? But I'm not letting anybody book my property. I'm like, oh man, I'm losing money left and right. These people want to book and I'm telling them no, all because maybe these people will book. And then I get one final email from Lydia. Lydia says, the insurance company's asking if we sign an 8 to 12 month lease, if there's any way you could come even further down on price. And I know, if they're asking me this question, it must mean that the individual, the mom and her daughter, decided they wanted to live here. And I know how limited of a selection of houses there are in the area. And any house is probably asking like $5,000 a month. The apartments are probably like $3,500 a month. So I'm sitting there saying, all right, I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to put it all out on the table. I'm going to hang myself out to dry. No, I can't come down in price anymore. $3,700 is where I have to be. Fingers crossed, please don't call my bluff and say, it's just out of our price range. We got to go somewhere else. Sure enough, she comes back and says, no problem. I just had to ask, and we'll be happy to get him in there. So what they're going to do is I asked for an $1,800 deposit, $3,700 a month, and an extra $250 in a non-refundable fee. And I'm going to use that $250 to bribe all the people who currently have time booked with me on Airbnb or VRBO. I'm going to bribe them to cancel the reservation, because if I cancel it, my rating goes down. But if they cancel it, nothing bad happens. So I'm going to reach out to them and hopefully not sound like I'm trying to scam them and be like, hey, here's the thing, this property is no longer available. I really want to maintain my superhost status rating, but the only way I can is if you cancel it. And I'm willing to bribe you to cancel your listing with a $50 gift card or Venmo or Zelle or Amazon, get whatever you want, $50 to cancel your listing a few months in advance. And if you don't, I'm just going to cancel it myself because it's no longer available. So it's getting canceled no matter what. I'm just trying to give you guys an opportunity to make some money off of it. That's my plan right there. So end of the day, the important thing is, let's talk about how much money that I'm going to be making. I'm going to pull my calculator up here on the computer because my phone is recording me right now, and that would be my normal calculator. So $3,700 a month. We multiply that by 12 months because they signed a 12-month lease. That's another great thing. It ended up not being 6 months, not being 8 months. They signed a 12-month lease with an option to extend. That's fantastic. So $3,700 a month times 12 is $44,400. And for reference, my previous highest amount ever made in a year was $2,150 times 12, which was $25,800. So from $25,000 up to $44,000, almost a $20,000 a year increase in the amount of money this property is going to bring in. I would consider that a freaking grand slam, not a swing and a miss. But I thought this, shirt fit me really well, accentuated my muscles, so I decided to wear it just for you guys. You're welcome, even though my audience is 98% men and my grandma. So, grandma, you're welcome. Moral of the story is here, this entire short-term rental experience has been a bit of a stressor on me. I've been sitting here wondering, did I make the right choice? I know I'm making a little bit more money, but man, I'm sick and tired of freaking cleaning this thing over and over and over again. And it's causing me trouble because I have to get it cleaned when a new guest shows up. And if they're booked back to back, I also have work and a SWAT call out and pick my son up and get to the gym. It's freaking tough to make it all happen. And so I've been sitting here saying, unless I can actually get this thing up to like $3,500 a month, maybe even $4,000 a month, it's just not worth it. And I've been doubting whether or not it was actually going to happen. And the only downside is that I still won't really get a good picture of what this property is capable of making during the summer because they're going to be booked for an entire year, which means it won't come vacant until next year in February. So next year in February, I'm going to go right back to where I am now of trying to figure out if this thing's actually worth keeping a short-term rental. However, I don't know what the type of frequency is finding a midterm tenant really looks like. As I mentioned earlier, 4 or 5 months of being listed on Furnish Finder, this is my first possible call. And I managed to somehow close the deal and close a great deal. I'm very happy about it. Could I reliably get midterm tenants like this at these rates or these prices? I have no idea. I have no idea if that's something that I could repeat in the future. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Now, if I was able to repeat this, even if I had 4 months where I had to do Airbnb to float from when my midterm tenant leaves to when the next midterm tenant comes. But then as soon as I get the next midterm tenant, it's at such a great rate that it makes it all worthwhile. Then maybe this whole thing will be worth it. It is still an ongoing experiment. I don't have all the answers. I try my best to share with you guys the real information that I have as it comes to me, my actual experience. The purpose of my channel from day one has been, here is broke, divorced, poor, young, the one good thing, Mike, who doesn't have anything. He's going to become a millionaire. Did it. He's going to buy real estate. Done. He's going to buy a bunch of rental properties in other states. No problem for your boy. He's going to start a short-term rental. Achieved. He's going to be successful with it. Moderately. And he's going to now convert it to a midterm rental and just pocket a whole bunch of cash. Yeah, we're going to achieve that one too. So appreciate you guys as always for watching. If you have questions, leave them down for me below. Thank you so much for the support. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with a friend, family member, anybody you want. Please let me know what you guys are up to. And hey, we'll catch you next time.